You know that feeling, right? Lying awake at night just replaying some mistake over and over in your head? Well, it turns out that old piece of wisdom about a clear conscience and a comfy pillow, it's not just something your grandma would say. In this explainer, we are going to dig into the real, hard science that links how you live your day to how you sleep at night.
Yeah, you've heard it a million times, right? A clear conscience makes for a comfy pillow. It's one of those classic sayings. It just feels true, doesn't it? It sounds wise. But the question is there anything more to it than just a nice, comforting thought?
And that right there is the big question we're going to tackle. Can you actually measure a connection between your moral compass and how well you sleep? Well, it turns out modern science is finding that the answer is a huge, resounding yes. So here's what's so cool. We're seeing science, everything from psychology to, circadian biology, actually providing the hard evidence to back this stuff up. It's confirming that this old saying, it's not just some nice metaphor. Nope, it's a deep psychological and physiological truth. And this is really the key takeaway here. The way you live your day, your ethical choices, that feeling of guilt or peace you carry around, it's not just some abstract idea floating in your head. It has a real, direct, physical impact on the very structure of your sleep. And that, of course, affects your overall health and just how happy you are.
All right, so let's get into it. Let's start with what happens when things go wrong. The dark side of the pillow, if you will. Guilt. How does that feeling, that sense of having done something wrong, actually physically stop you from sleeping? Well, it all boils down to one very specific and very common mental loop.
And that culprit has a name. It's called rumination. You know exactly what this is. It's that mental hamster wheel that you just can't get off of. You're replaying a mistake or some hurtful thing someone said, just over and over and over. It's basically your brain refusing to let go. And man, is it a powerful sleep killer.
And the damage from this mental loop? It's not vague, it's incredibly specific. Rumination literally kicks your body into high alert. It flips on your fight or flight switch. And what that means is, it takes you way longer to fall asleep, you wake up more often during the night, and your mind gets flooded with all these intrusive thoughts right at the moment you're trying to find some peace. It's brutal.
Okay, so if that's the poison, what's the antidote? Well, science actually points to a really powerful one: forgiveness. And listen, we're not just talking about some fluffy, spiritual idea here. We're talking about a practical, psychological tool that can actually calm your mind and your body down. And the results are pretty darn clear. Long-term studies show that people who actively practice forgiveness, and that means forgiving others and themselves, they just have fewer sleep problems, period. As the researchers say, it's about clearing the wreckage of the past. When you do that, you dial down that threat alarm in your nervous system. And that's what lets you sink into that deep, restorative sleep that your brain is crying out for. But it goes deeper than that. It's not just about what you did on one specific day. Our actual personality traits, the stable parts of who we are, they play a huge role too. And there's one trait in particular that's really closely tied to having a clear conscience, and it can even influence your internal body clock.
Right? That body clock. We're talking about your circadian rhythm. Just think of it like your body's master internal clock. And this clock loves regularity. It craves consistency. When you keep it in sync, man, everything gets better. Your energy, your mood, the whole shebang.
And this is where that personality trait, conscientiousness, comes into play. We're talking about people who are generally disciplined, responsible, reliable. And it turns out they have some pretty amazing advantages when it comes to sleep. They tend to have more regular schedules, and they get more sleep, and it's better quality sleep. But here's the truly wild part. Their conscientiousness acts like a protective shield. So even if they have a super stressful day, the kind of day that would absolutely torpedo sleep for most of us, their good habits and their routine actually buffer them from the chaos. It's incredible.
So, we've seen how a guilty conscience can wreck your sleep and how good habits can protect it. But it gets even better, because these things aren't separate. They actually feed into each other. They create this powerful, self-reinforcing loop, a real upward spiral.
And this is what that virtuous circle looks like. Check it out. You act with integrity, so you have less guilt, less of that awful rumination. That in turn leads to better sleep. Then you wake up properly rested, which makes you better at handling your emotions. You're less snappy, more thoughtful, and with a clear head, guess what? It's easier to make good, ethical choices, which starts the whole amazing cycle all over again.
Okay, so what's the big picture here? What's the ultimate payoff for lining up your conscience with your sleep schedule? Trust me, it's about so much more than just not feeling tired the next day.
It's really about rewiring your mental health from the ground up. Big, large-scale studies have confirmed it. When you improve your sleep quality, it has a powerful direct effect. We're talking about significant reductions in depression, anxiety, and just everyday stress. It directly shuts down that rumination cycle we were talking about, giving you a real, measurable boost to how you feel every single day.
So, when you think about it, that comfy pillow, it stops being just a pillow. It becomes a symbol for something way deeper. It stands for an integrated life. A life where your values, your mind, and your body's own rhythms are all clicking together, all working in harmony. It's a sign of real inner peace.
And look, let's be super clear about something. This is not about being some kind of perfect saint. The source material is very blunt about this. We are not saints. The real magic isn't in perfection. It's in the effort. It's in the day-to-day striving to live with integrity and to make things right when you mess up, and to forgive. That is the real, accessible path to a better night's sleep.
So as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with a question. Tonight, when your head hits that pillow, just ask yourself, what's holding it up? Is it the weight of stuff you haven't dealt with? Or is it the lightness that comes from trying to live a good life? Because the science is crystal clear on this one. The choice really is yours, and it can make all the difference in the world for how you feel tomorrow.